Will American Horror Story Season 13 air this year? Well, it's starting to seem pretty unlikely, but I do have everything you need to know about AHS and more in this video, so stay tuned. Back in the fall of 2024, Ryan Murphy sent American Horror Story fans into a frenzy when he teased that the two actors that had appeared in the most seasons of the show, Sarah Paulson and Evan Peters, were in talks to return for Season 13. While nothing concrete ever came of those initial talks, at least to the public, Sarah Paulson did reveal in an interview at the time that she was very eager to return to American Horror Story.
I think there is a big chance that I will return to American Horror Story. I've got everything crossed. I would like to do it more than anything. It's my home. It's where I started. Also, just my favorite people. If I could be reunited with Evan Peters and Ryan Murphy, you can just pretty much tell me what time to be there.
So all of those murmurs about a Season 13 starring Sarah and Evan circle back to those murmurs in the fall of 2024, but since then, an all too familiar silence has fallen over the AHS fandom. So what's the deal with AHS 13? Are FX and Ryan Murphy Productions putting their flagship series on the back burner, or are they potentially gearing up for another top secret marketing campaign a la Roanoke or Apocalypse? I'm definitely leaning towards the former, and I'll tell you why, but before I continue, I want to thank you guys for all of your support on my recent deep dives. I also recently hit 18,000 subscribers. Those deep dives have been a lot of fun to make, and I'm working on another one as we speak. So make sure you guys are subscribed for that. And speaking of subscribers, I hate to be one of these YouTubers, but I never do this, so hear me out. According to my YouTube analytics, nearly 80% of my viewers in the last month have not been subscribers of mine. It's great that my content is reaching people outside of my bubble, but if you're not subscribed, you're gonna miss videos like this one and my upcoming deep dives. And we're also getting kind of close to 20,000 subscribers, which would definitely be pretty cool to hit by the end of the year. So if you're not subscribed, I highly recommend it. I promise I won't be a nuisance in your subscription feed. I only post every couple of weeks, sometimes only once a month. What's stopping you? Hit that subscribe button. And now let's get back to the AHS news, or lack thereof. So John Landgraf is the chairman of FX. We talk about him all the time in my AHS news videos because he's technically in charge of Ryan Murphy's shows at FX. But whenever he's asked about them, he's always like, Ryan just does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and I just say, go for it. Last month, though, Landgraf handed his signature line off to the head of Disney Television, which, of course, FX falls under the umbrella of. And he gave a statement about the status of American Horror Story that definitely made the rounds on all of your AHS accounts that you may follow. Disney TV head Eric Schreier said that AHS will continue, quote, whenever Ryan has an idea, which is pretty typical of executives talking about American Horror Story. But he went on to say that the way we work with Ryan is different than with other creators. He's in a select few group of people that if he has a great idea for another American Horror Story, and that's something that FX Network's chairman John Landgraf and the team at FX really want to do, we're gonna figure it out. Schreier's quote continued and stirred up some confusion, I'd say, amongst the fan base when he said, "We don't have another incarnation of American Horror Story ordered, but it's a franchise that, by design, can always be rebooted. And so when Ryan has an idea that is great and can figure it out with his schedule of all the things that he's doing, I could very well see us doing another installment." A lot of fans took this quote to mean that a 13th season of AHS has not been ordered, which is confusing, particularly because as of last October, Ryan Murphy seemed pretty set on doing at least one more season of American Horror Story, teasing the cast and all of that. So what do you mean there's not another incarnation in the works? But everyone, take a deep breath with me, because I do not believe that this is what he is saying. First of all, it would be factually incorrect to say that FX did not order a 13th season of AHS, because they did back in January of 2020 when they ordered not only season 13, but season 12 and season 11 as a part of a package kind of deal. So given that we've known to expect at least 13 seasons for the past 5 years now, the first time that I read this quote, I assumed that he meant to say, what is the truth, that FX hasn't ordered any seasons past 13, so 14 is not being discussed. Season 13 has been on the roadmap for quite some time, and Ryan Murphy had been speaking about it very recently, as was Sarah Paulson. And as of about 6 months ago, they all seemed pretty interested in the next installment. Let's also not overlook, as I almost did in this video, that the question that Schreier was responding to acknowledged that season 13 was happening. A lot of the articles outside of the source article, which is the deadline article, they don't really mention the question he was responding to. And his response, if you don't know the question he's responding to, makes it seem like he's talking about 13. But when you know the question he is responding to, which is pretty direct, are there more seasons past 13? It's pretty clear that even Eric Schreier is planning on season 13 happening. It just probably won't be this year, as you'll see later on in this video. If that weren't the case and there wasn't any plan to go forward with season 13, then I would expect them to announce that the season that they had previously ordered is now canceled, and I don't think that's happened. So basically, I think this Eric Schreier executive guy is saying what we already know. There is no set production date for season 13, and there's also no concrete plans to renew the show past season 13, and we knew all of that. So the plan, like I said, seems to do season 13 on Ryan Murphy's schedule, which is still unknown to the public, and then after season 13 airs, the show will most likely take some sort of break. This could all change, of course, if Ryan Murphy suddenly pitches more than one season to John Landgraf, and John Landgraf is like, hell yeah, 5 more seasons, you know? But given the use of the word reboot, this Disney exec is at least seeming to paint a picture of a world where after season 13, there is an indefinite break on the franchise. And because of this, I would not be surprised if once season 13 starts to get promoted, it will be billed as the final season of AHS. Which, yes, is a different stance than I took in October, but these guys are the queens of mixed signals. So to reiterate my interpretation of all of this executive nonsense and truly stagnant AHS news cycle, I am of the belief that AHS 13 is still being developed. I do think it will be that all-star cast idea that Ryan Murphy was speaking about in October. I have no clue how far into development he is or any of his team is, but given there have been no murmurs of production start dates, I do believe we will not be getting AHS 13 in the year of 2025. Some further evidence that I believe points towards no AHS this year is the existence of another Ryan Murphy show on FX. And no, I'm not talking about Grotesquerie. I'm talking about The Beauty. If you don't remember, last year there was no season of AHS airing in its normal fall Wednesday night time slot, and in its place was a very similar Ryan Murphy horror show oozing with AHS DNA called Grotesquerie. As an AHS fan, the show felt like they put Asylum, Hotel, and Cult into a blender, and it actually ended up pulling in a similar amount of live viewers as the most recent seasons of AHS did. But despite initial talks of a 5-season plan, there has been no word on if or when Grotesquerie will continue, and its fans have not been asking for more, so I don't think it's gonna happen. But this fall, there will be a Ryan Murphy horror show airing, but it isn't Grotesquerie, and it's also not AHS. The Beauty stars Evan Peters, Jeremy Pope, Anthony Ramos, and unfortunately, it also stars Ashton Kutcher. It's based on a series of graphic novels, and its ensemble cast also includes the likes of legend Isabella Rossellini, Rebecca Hall, Bella Hadid, and more to be announced, I'm sure. The team has been shooting all over Italy, and the set photos we've seen honestly look pretty damn intriguing. According to the AHS Zone on Twitter, the cast described the show at the recent Disney upfronts as follows. Imagine a world where a lab-born virus has the unique transformative power to make you drop dead gorgeous. But the new beautiful you, as enticing as it sounds, comes with a deadly catch. And the show was also described as Disney's version of The Substance, with a few more helicopters, yachts, and swimming pools. Definitely seeing The Substance parallels, but this premise also reminds me a bit of AHS Red Tide, depending on what deadly catch ends up being with this, beautification. Let me know if you like this concept, and do you think they potentially missed an opportunity to brand this as the 6th AHS spin-off and call it European Horror Story? But back to AHS, there's still some loose threads to discuss when it comes to Ryan Murphy's interview he gave back in October. Back then, Murphy seemed to be developing multiple seasons of AHS at the same time, in addition to all of his zillions of other projects. Of course, the one we heard most about was his idea of reuniting some of the show's most memorable and all-star cast members, including Sarah Paulson, Evan Peters, and he also mentioned Angela Bassett. Sign me the fuck up. But in that same interview, Murphy said that he was also working with Hallie Pfeiffer to spearhead what seemed to be a different, separate season of American Horror Story. And if you forgot, Hallie Pfeiffer is the writer and showrunner who helmed AHS Delicate, the first season of AHS to not be showrun by Ryan Murphy. However, since Murphy said that he was working on this separate season of AHS with Hallie Pfeiffer has landed a huge Netflix drama series starring Lizzie Kaplan, so her new career development might have put a pin in that season of AHS, especially with Disney's outlook on AHS post 13. So once again, my understanding of the situation based on what people like Ryan Murphy, John Landgraf, and Eric Schreier have said is that there's now one final season of AHS being developed to fulfill that 13th season that FX ordered all the way back in 2020. And I don't think this season will be coming out this year. I think Murphy will put a lot of attention into the beauty. It looks like a pretty high budget show. They marketed Grotesquerie a lot as well as kind of the next new thing, and it didn't necessarily materialize as a mainstream hit. So I think they're trying to make a mainstream Ryan Murphy horror show again, and it's not American Horror Story. It wasn't Grotesquerie. They're going to try with The Beauty, and we'll see if it works. But without a doubt, as Ryan Murphy embarks on the press tour for The Beauty, he'll drop some hints about what his new direction is for AHS, just like he did on the Grotesquerie press tour. But wow, it is truly like picking up breadcrumbs to get news for you guys here. Sarah Paulson will probably return for season 13. She seems pretty eager to, as long as it's not like the worst case scenario of what it seems like and Ryan Murphy has lost all interest in American Horror Story for the time being. But I think potentially we could see Sarah, we could see Evan, and I really hope he brings back Angela Bassett for this 13th season. And honestly, take your damn time. I don't care when it comes out, just make it good, make it memorable. Onto some lighter AHS news. Unlike Sarah Paulson, you may have also recently seen some AHS alum being not so eager to return to the show, with legends Jessica Lange and Patti LuPone giving hilarious answers when asked about the show in recent interviews.
Ryan Murphy said he wants to bring the group back together for season 13.
What group is that, though?
I mean, I imagine the really, really cool people, and you would be one of them.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he was probably talking about the guys.
Season 13, can you tell us anything about it? Are you going to be in it?
Oh, Christ, no. I haven't done it I haven't done it for, more than 12 years. So, no, I'm not doing it.
Because this is supposed to be the last season, if they ask you back, would you come back?
No.
You guys have to stop asking Jessica about this damn show. I think she's made herself abundantly clear for the past decade. So this comes as no surprise. I'm not surprised Jessica has no interest in returning, and I'm also not surprised that this is Patti LuPone's attitude towards the show either. If you don't recall, she had some words to say about Kim Kardashian joining the cast of AHS when that happened.
Kim, what are you doing with your life? Don't get on the stage, Mrs. Worthington.
So yeah, we can definitely expect to not see these two ladies whenever AHS 13 comes around. We talk about the death or the downfall of AHS all the time on this show, so it doesn't come as a surprise that to executives and producers, season 13 seems like a good spot to end the show. But it's nice that everyone seems to be leaving the door open for any future reboots or spin-offs, because I believe that the AHS brand is undeniably valuable. Speaking of spin-offs, you may be wondering, has there been any update on American Horror Stories, the episodic anthology series that has gone on for 3 seasons now? Well, the answer is no. There has been no word from Ryan Murphy Productions, Hulu, or FX about whether or not the spin-off will continue for more seasons. Season 3 was split into 2 parts that aired as separate Hulu-ween events, which seemed to make a little bit of noise in comparison to the first two. So who knows, honestly, how much value the spin-off still holds. But if they were planning a American Horror Stories Halloween event for this Halloween, I think we would have heard some murmurs of it by now. So I think just like the main show, the spin-off is at the very least on a little hiatus as of 2025. It's also worth noting that the first 3 seasons of the spin-off filmed at the same time and near the same locations as the main show. I don't know if they were sharing too many like production vehicles or assets or employees. I imagine they were. So there might be some budgeting or logistical reasons why those 2 shows shoot together. So perhaps news about the spin-off will come around the same time we start to hear about season 13. But genuinely, I think as the seasons go on, they have stronger episodes as a whole. So as long as they continue that trajectory of improving themselves and leveling up each season, I'm an AHS fan. I'm down for whatever they're gonna give us. And right now it doesn't seem like they want to give us anything. Right now might be the most confusing and uncertain time to be an AHS fan, and if you go on places like Twitter, you get the idea that its own fans want the show to die. So I definitely get why producers and executives are pumping the AHS brakes, but it goes without saying that I love AHS, and I know a lot of people in the real world do as well off of social media. Even at its worst, it is a fascinating and entertaining show, and I genuinely hope they are able to pull off some more strong seasons in the future. And I also think that, yeah, if you did stop airing the show for a few years and then came back with an absolute banger of a season with an all-star cast that could quote-unquote reboot the show, that could also work and potentially usher in another decade-spanning era of the show. Alright, you guys, that is the bulk of the news that I have for you today, filled in with a whole lot of my speculation. But once again, no, I do not expect AHS 13 to be coming in 2025 after all, but that could all change at the flip of a Ryan Murphy Instagram post, so take everything I said today with a grain of salt. The AHS overlords are keeping us in the dark for now. But before I go, I want to give you guys some news on what to expect from my channel in these next few months. You might have seen my very long deep dives on AHS. As I said earlier, they're a ton of fun to do, but they take a long time to edit. I do have more deep dives coming soon, but to fill the amount of time it takes to make them, I do have some smaller uploads that you guys will be seeing in the meantime, just like this one. Before the end of this month, you'll see a ranking and analysis of the AHS title sequences go up on my Patreon, and then on YouTube shortly after that. And then at some point in June, I will be releasing a video about one of my favorite horror films of last year, I Saw the TV Glow, and eventually the next deep dive you will see will be on AHS Murder House. With that, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.